Hello, and welcome to IEDU Speaking TOEIC for Day 4. Today we will be talking about Part 3 of the Speaking TOEIC. First of all, before you get into this, I want to talk a little bit about pronunciation. One of the things that some students do that helps them is they warm up before they start to take a test. When you go and run a race or play a soccer match, you would stress out the muscles that you would be using so that you're able to do a better job when you're playing the game. The same thing goes true for speaking. You've got to warm up the jaw muscles and the mouth muscles to make sure that they are ready to go through the rigors of speaking for 20 minutes plus in a real speaking TOEIC. Some good warm-ups include tongue twisters. I have an example of this after this. Just saying the lyrics to an English song. Minimal pairs where just one sound has been changed, but the words are very similar, like write, light. Reading out loud from some print like a newspaper or a book or magazine. It has to be out loud because you're warming up your mouth muscles. So let's try a tongue twister and see how you feel about that. Okay, first of all, I'm going to break it up into smaller chunks, and so I will say it, and then please repeat after me. Peter Piper. Okay, good. So you said Peter Piper, right? Okay, next one. Picked a peck of pickled peppers. A peck of pickled peppers Peter Piper picked. If Peter Piper picked a peck of pickled peppers, where's the peck of pickled peppers Peter Piper picked? Okay, let's go through it without breaking it down into chunks. Just go ahead and talk at the same time I am talking. We'll go slow the first time and we'll build up speed the second and then the third time. Here we go. Peter Piper picked a peck of pickled peppers. A peck of pickled peppers Peter Piper picked. If Peter Piper picked a peck of pickled peppers, where's the peck of pickled peppers Peter Piper picked? Okay, next time, a little bit faster. Ready? And Peter Piper picked a peck of pickled peppers. A peck of pickled peppers Peter Piper picked. If Peter Piper picked a peck of pickled peppers, where's the peck of pickled peppers Peter Piper picked? All right, last time, and we're going to speed it up again. Peter Piper picked a peck of pickled peppers. A peck of pickled peppers Peter Piper picked. If Peter Piper picked a peck of pickled peppers, where's the peck of pickled peppers Peter Piper picked? Now you can probably see why this would be a good warm-up. If you can, I'll do it as fast as I can do it and see if you can keep up. Peter Piper picked a peck of pickled peppers. A peck of pickled peppers Peter Piper picked. If Peter Piper picked a peck of pickled peppers, where's the peck of pickled peppers Peter Piper picked? I even made a couple of stumble errors, but that's okay. This is a warm-up. It's not the test, so it's a good time to make your stumbles. Next thing to think about is that every language has a music. And so we need to find this music to truly sound like we're speaking this language. One of the issues, and this is an issue with intonation and stress are really about finding the music of the language, because it's the flow and how loud or soft the language gets. English is smooth, it has a flow. It also is not the same as Korean, which is one of the problems that Koreans sometimes have. English has more ups and downs than Korean. Think of, okay, in this case we'll think of function words as de. Function words, if you remember, are all the grammar glue words, and content words as da. Content words are like nouns, verbs, adjectives, adverbs, things that carry meaning. Okay, so let's take a look at a couple of sentences. What are you going to do today? That sounds like a robot. When we look at the dis and the das, we'll see what are you are all function words. So it should have more of a rhythm of did. What are you? What are you? Did. Going is a da. To do, did-da. Today, da. So what are you going to do today? What are you going to do today? What are you going to do today? And you can see how did-da-da-da-da. I am going to the store. Robot. Let's try it again. Did-da-da-da. Da-did-da. Did-da-da-da-da-da. I am going to the store. I am going to go to the store. Okay? Have you ever been to England? The only word in this question that is carrying meaning is the last one, England. So it's going to sound like da. Have you ever been to England? Da. Have you ever been to England? Da. So you can see how the sound, this music, this flow of the language can change. And it is different than Korean, where more words are stressed because you don't have as many function words. Now, part 3, answering questions. So what is part 3? That's a good question. Part 3 is a set of 3 questions. They are on about the same topic. When you are answering them, the first question should take somewhere in the neighborhood of 15 seconds to answer. The second question should also take about 15 seconds to answer. The third question should have a longer response, and it should take around 30 seconds to answer. So when you're doing this, the questions flash up on the screen so you can keep looking at the question while you're answering. So you don't have to worry about forgetting what the question is. So when we look at this, read the questions and then answer. This is actually supposed to be conversation, and that's why all 3 questions will be on the same topic. Grading. Okay, part 1 had pronunciation and intonation stress. So does every part. To make the sounds, you need pronunciation. Putting them together, you need intonation and stress. That is integral to actually speaking in English. Grammar, vocabulary, and cohesion, just like in part 2, you have to come up with the answers, and you need to put the words in the correct order, use the best word possible, and have some organization in how you're answering the question. So this is the same as part 2. There are 2 new sections that were added to part 3. These are going to be the 7 main grading categories for the rest of the speaking TOEIC. Next is relevance of content. The relevance of content simply means, did you answer the question that was asked, or did you answer some other question? Or did you only partially answer the question asked? That would be relevance of content. Completeness of content actually is tied with, have you said enough on the topic to give a full testing answer? I'll talk about the difference between conversational English when you're talking to a friend and testing English later in this PowerPoint. Tips. These are some things that might help you score better on part 3. Start speaking when you hear the beep and talk the entire time. Use complete sentences. This is testing English, not conversational English, so do not answer with one word or a short phrase. Use a complete sentence. As you're supposed to talk for 15 seconds, you will probably need 2 complete sentences to eat up that much time. Next, make sure that you use a wide variety of grammatical forms. These could include simple sentences, complex, compound sentences, passive voice, relative clauses, prepositional phrases, adjectives, all of these things that you have learned in your grammar classes in the past. Some more tips. Try to have an introduction and some support and a conclusion if you're answering a why question or describing something. If you're telling a story, use a timeline, so first, second, third, fourth, as your organizational pattern to help you get the most points on cohesion. Record yourself. Just as I said in the other parts, the best way to do this is to actually record yourself and then listen to it. Now, I do know you do need to record at least one of these and upload it to the LMS. I suggest you record all of them even when you're practicing and then listen to it. How does it sound? So, play the recording back. Are there any problems you can hear? Maybe you'll start hearing more problems because you're actually tuning into the fact of what problems really are. Practice your timing with preparation and reading time. So after you record it, you can actually also see how long did you talk. If you only talked 5 seconds, you probably did not talk long enough. Which brings us to the next thing. How can you talk for 15 seconds on such a simple question? Well, the best way to do this is to remember this is testing English. In a real conversation, and you're talking to a friend, you probably are not talking in complete sentences. An example of this might go with the question, what is your favorite color? If I'm talking to a close friend and they're saying, oh, Charles, what color do you like? And I would probably say, black. That's it. That's all I would say. I would not add anything more than that one-word answer. However, this is not talking to your friend. This is talking in a test. So in testing English, a much better answer to what is your favorite color would be, my favorite color is black because it is dark, like my favorite time of the day. I also like the color black because it makes you look thinner when you wear it. That is a much fuller and completer answer to this question, and it will allow you to talk for a longer period of time. Here's another example. The question, how often do you go to watch movies? Real answer, once a year. Not good testing. This time, at least it's not one word, it is a phrase, but it still is not long enough. A testing answer might be, I don't go watch movies very often because I do not have enough time to go out of the house and watch them. This is due to the fact that my daughter is still afraid of most movie storylines, so we do other things during any time we have for family activities. This gives you an idea of the kind of things you need to be doing to extend the answer. Here's an example set. So, how often do you use the computer? So, read the question and then start talking. How often do you use the computer? Well, you would actually answer, I use the computer 2 hours every day, or something like that. What program do you use the most? Me personally, I use PowerPoint the most. So I answer the question first, then I give follow-up, extend the question type response. So after that, I would say something like, I'll get back to this. Question 3, describe how you use the computer to help you study. Okay? And this is the timing that you would be going through with this. Now let me answer the questions and show you what I'm talking about. Okay, so I'll do question 1 first. How often do you use the computer? I use the computer for about somewhere between 2 and 6 hours a day. I use the computer mostly to prepare for my classes at school and also when I am teaching in the classroom to show the PowerPoints that I've made. That was an 18-second answer. Remember, you're supposed to talk for 15 seconds, so that was really, really close. Next question. What program do you use the most? I use PowerPoint the most. I use PowerPoint because I am preparing to put my notes for the students up on the board. PowerPoint allows it to be more readable than my handwriting on the chalkboard. That was 16 seconds. Finally, describe how you use the computer to help you study. I'm going to change this to how you teach. So, how do I use the computer to help me study? I use the computer to help me study by making PowerPoints for my classes in the classroom. And this allows me to actually show my things on the board for other people. But sometimes I need to study to be able to put together my PowerPoints. In those cases, I would use the computer, maybe the internet, to help research a topic that I'm doing, possibly to find pictures to put into my PowerPoint, or to make sure that the information that is in the textbook is correct. So I'll go to certain websites and check the grammar or some other point using internet sources. Now that was over 30 seconds, so that was a good answer. One thing you should have noticed about all of my answers, the first thing I did was I took the question and I answered it. How often do you use the computer? I use the computer about 2 to 6 hours a day. My first part, I turn the question inside out. Instead of you use the computer, I change it to I use the computer and then answer the question. What program do you use the most? I use the computer program PowerPoint the most, or I use PowerPoint the most. I've taken the words directly from the question and turned them around into the answer. Change the you to I, and it's done. Looking at the next one, describe how you use the computer to help you study. I use the computer to help me study. There we go. I changed you use the computer into I use the computer to help you study and to help me study. And then I answer the question. This is a very good way to get started, and it will also help your presentation, your answers. Another set. And that was how much you need to talk. Answering these questions, how often do you exercise or play sports? Turn the question inside out. I usually, how often? I usually exercise about 3 or 4 times a week for about 45 minutes because I need to keep in shape. So I've extended the answer just a little bit. I've also answered not just how often, but the why I'm doing it that much. Next question, what kind of exercise do you usually do? I usually exercise by, okay, so what kind of exercise do you usually? I usually exercise. You can see these words coming straight out of the question. It will help you get started. I usually exercise by using a treadmill. The treadmill is in my house, which allows it to be much easier and more efficient for me to use it. And so it's not my favorite kind of exercise, however, but it is the exercise I can use. The following, what is your favorite form of exercise or sport? Why? My favorite form of exercise or sport. There we go. What is my, okay, and then the rest of the question. Favorite form of exercise, I'm going to say exercise, is to play badminton or go walking with my family. I find this very relaxing because I get to spend quality time with my daughter or with my daughter and wife as I am playing badminton or walking through the neighborhood. Badminton can be a lot of fun because I'm exercising, I'm playing a sport, and I'm spending good time with my daughter, all of which are important in my life. So you can see how I kind of extended this question out, and I'm giving a good reason why. Okay, so homework. Record your voice answering the 3 questions on the next slide. So there's 3 questions on the next slide. They are timed, so just kind of follow the timing. Then upload the file to the LMS. This is worth 10 points. It will be graded based on completion of the homework. It will not be given a letter grade. Okay, ready? And go. "15 seconds. "15 seconds. And 30 seconds. I will see you next time for the next PowerPoint.